Welcome, Discovery Kids Online. We are in the New Testament learning all about the early church.
And the first thing the early church needed was a helper.
And do you know who that was?
The Holy Spirit.
Exactly. And the disciples were filled with the Holy Spirit, and they were going out telling everybody about Jesus. But
there was a group of people who were not happy about that.
Do you know who that was?
The religious leaders?
And those religious leaders, they did not want anyone talking about Jesus.
That's not going to stop them, is it?
No way.
Here at Discovery Kids, we love Jesus.
We love Jesus so much. Yes, we do.
And the Bible tells us that you need to hang out with other people who love Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
And when we're all together, it's awesome.
Oh, it is so awesome.
I love it. Thanks, you guys.
Oh,
love you.
Love you. Right back at you.
Bye. But you know what? Not everybody loves Jesus, and sometimes that can make you feel kind of, alone and maybe like a little scared.
Nice shirt.
Loser.
I mean, some people are going to even hate you because you love Jesus.
Okay, let's ditch this Jesus freak.
Loser.
Do you know what, guys? Those of us who love and believe in Jesus, we are never, ever alone. That's a promise straight from God.
Today, we're going to see a story about a man named Stephen who really loved Jesus.
Oh, he was definitely a part of Team Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Stephen was an amazing man.
How do you know?
Well, first of all, the apostles thought he was pretty amazing.
All right, you apostles, gather around. The church is growing like crazy, which is awesome. But running this is a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. It's way too much work for just us apostles.
Oh, we definitely need some help.
We should pick out 7 guys to help out.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
Seven's a good number.
And Stephen was one of the men they picked.
Hey.
They chose Stephen because he was wise and filled with the Holy Spirit.
I'll do it.
God also thought that Stephen was pretty special.
How do you know?
God blessed Stephen and gave him powers to do wonders and miracles.
Whoa. Stephen could do wonders?
And miracles?
Oh, yeah.
Stephen from the book of Acts.
Announcing Stephen. Now, this guy loved Jesus. This guy was telling people about Jesus. This guy made some of the Jewish people really, really angry.
Hey, you.
They began to argue with Stephen.
Seriously? Jesus?
Please, loser.
But the Holy Spirit was there to help Stephen speak with wisdom.
Jesus is the Son of God. Look at the scriptures. Jesus is the promised Messiah.
But no matter how hard these Jewish people tried, they could not win an argument with Stephen. Now what?
No idea.
Since they couldn't win, they lied.
This man has spoken against God.
Oh, yeah. Heard him. Totally against God.
People dragged Stephen before the religious leaders.
Yep. Let's go. Come on.
They took Stephen to the Sanhedrin, the Jewish court of law.
Once in front of the Sanhedrin, the men told even more lies about Stephen.
We heard this man, Stephen, say that Jesus would destroy the temple.
No.
And that he would change the laws that Moses gave us.
No.
Everyone on the Sanhedrin looked at Stephen, and they saw that his face was like the face of an angel. Then the high priest asked Stephen,
Are these charges true?
Stephen stood up and began to tell them about Jesus. And he so told them about Jesus.
Stephen started by reminding the religious leaders about Abraham. God promised Abraham 3 things,
A huge family,
and he got a huge family.
land,
Totally got that promised land,
and a special blessing.
and that was Jesus.
Stephen reminded them about Joseph. When his brothers tried to hurt him, God kept Joseph safe.
Yeah, my brothers threw me in a well and sold me as a slave.
And God used Joseph to save his family from a famine.
You know it.
And Jesus came from that family. Love the coat.
Thanks.
Next, Stephen talked about Moses. God sent Moses to rescue his people from Pharaoh. And Moses led God's people away from Egypt and Pharaoh.
Okay, excuse me. What? Seriously?
Yeah.
No.
Fine.
But
Those stubborn people turned against me and against God.
God did not give up on his people. Those people, the Jewish people, were a part of his plan.
God's plan is Jesus.
God was always protecting his people and thus his plan.
And God worked through Joshua to save his people.
And God also worked through King David.
God even worked through King Solomon.
Yes, you see, Stephen, he was showing those religious leaders that the whole Old Testament is about Jesus.
But don't you see that Jesus is the promised Messiah, the one promised that would come by God? But just as your ancestors rejected and killed the prophets, you have rejected and killed Jesus.
What Stephen was saying made the Jewish leaders so angry.
We are so angry!
Stephen was filled with the Holy Spirit. He looked up into heaven and saw Jesus standing there.
I see the heavens opening and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God.
What?
When Stephen said this, the religious leaders covered their ears.
They screamed at the top of their lungs and rushed at Stephen.
They grabbed him and they dragged him out of the city.
And they began throwing stones at him.
And Stephen called out,
Lord, receive my spirit.
Then Stephen said,
And Lord, do not hold this sin against them.
And Stephen died.
wow, is this a Bible story? I mean, I thought Bible stories always had happy endings. I mean, what happened?
Well, you know, the Bible is not a storybook.
What happens in the Bible really did happen.
Those religious leaders really hated Stephen, and they really killed him.
Yeah, but did you notice that Stephen wasn't afraid? I mean, yeah, Stephen died, but who was there to snatch him right up into heaven?
Jesus was. I
yes.
bet Jesus was proud of Stephen.
He was so proud of him because, I mean, think about it. He never stopped telling people about Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, take a minute and answer this question. We're so glad you guys were here with us today. Watch some of our other stories and do some worship with our worship videos. And we will see you next time. Bye. They began to argue with Stephen.
And that was Jesus. Yeah, you were supposed to fist bump me. Now it just looks like you're trying to punch me.
Were a part of his plan.
One more time.
I'm not supposed to leave?